Hello, my name is Amber Archer, and we're going to apply some theories that we learned in Module 4 to the film of The Whale. Now, the movie The Whale is based off a man named Charlie who's morbidly obese and struggles with intense grief and depression after the death of his partner. And due to Charlie's health, he also lives in isolation, and knowing that he's on the verge of death, he's attempting to reconnect with his daughter who really struggles with feelings of abandonment. We're going to apply the attachment theory and family stress resiliency theory to the film as well as define them, and then that will help us get a better understanding of why the characters respond the way they do and some of the stress that's involved in their relationships. Now, attachment theory was created by John Bowlby in 1958, and it really comes from how the study of how animals responded to their mothers. And attachment theory, really looks into the type and the quality of a relationship an infant or a child had with their mother and their primary caregiver, and how that relationship was either positive or negative, and the long-term effects for future relationships. And past experiences and trauma shape how a person views their self-worth of love and then trust towards other people. Now, the two types of attachment classification is secure and insecure. And someone that's in a secure attachment style, their relationship's going to look loving, supportive, healthy, and they're usually viewed and also feel that it's pretty easy for them to get along with other people and their partner. An anxious and a ambivalent relationship is going to have some obsessive qualities. This person is likely going to have like emotional roller coaster, some jealousy, and they often feel underappreciated and cautious to commit to future relationships. Avoidant, these type of people are very timid about intimacy, whether that's friendship or romance. Extreme emotional highs and lows, and they're very distant towards others and are okay with being alone. According to Smith and Hammond, the model of self is based on the amount of anxiety and dependency on other people's approval. More often than not, people will more closely align with one prototype. However, some actually may have a varying level of alignment with two or more prototypes. In the secure category, these people had parents who were responsive to their needs. They had a strong sense of self-worth and are capable of healthy, intimate relationships. People in the preoccupied category likely experience inconsistent parenting and receive conflicting messages about their worthiness. This has also resulted in constant search of approval and validation of their worthiness. These people fall into the anxious, ambivalent attachment category. Dismissing and fearful individuals fall into the avoidance attachment category. Dismissing individuals distance themselves from others because they are concerned with rejection. And fearful attachment prototype individuals crave intimacy and social connection, but an extreme amount of distrust and fear of rejection. They're also very vulnerable to the feelings of rejection. Now, the concept of secure base is one of the three significant functions of the attachment relationship. It nurtures an environment where children feel safe to explore their surroundings. And for adults, a secure base allows them to expand and grow essential skills that improve relationships. And when a child or an adult feels that they no longer have the secure base, they go searching for a safe haven. Now, if we apply the attachment theory and the insecure attachment, we see Charlie, who's falls into that anxious category. He's seeking approval and validation from Ellie, willing to pay Ellie to come around. He's fearful of rejection, and also fearful of what his students are going to think of him and the way that he looks. So he keeps his camera off and remains in isolation. He doesn't really feel worthy of Ellie's love or trust, and he validates that she has every right to feel the way that she does. And there's also some emotional outbursts and interaction with his students, and his up and down relationship and emotional response with food. Now, Ellie falls into the avoidance side. She maintains great distance from Charlie, avoids really any real intimacy, friendship, romance, or uh, parental comfort. She's kind of a loner. And she's very emotionally reactive with hurtful comments. And right about the 1 hour mark in the film, Charlie tries to explain to Ellie, I was in a really strange place in my life when I met your mother. Ellie very meanly responds, "Did I effing ask?" And kind of shuts down Charlie immediately, where he starts apologizing. Now, family stress and resiliency theory is about how the family handles, copes, and overcomes a stressful event. Two separate families are likely to react or respond very differently to similar events, and not all stressors result in a crisis. Some families have adequate resources and are able to overcome them. Now, if we look at the ABCX theory, A equals the stressor that is going on in that family. B are the resources and strengths. So do they have family and friends or community support? And then C is the perception. How is it viewed as the family? And the X is the ABC adds together, and that decides if it actually presents itself to be a crisis or not. Now, double ABCX, they account for the complexities and compound effects of dealing with multiple stressors over time. For example, a family that's already dealing with a terminally ill child, and now the parent loses their job and eventually is facing eviction or foreclosure on a home. Now, the roller coaster effect is how a family is already functioning at, I'll say, a normal level of homeostasis. And then when a stressor or event is introduced, it causes disruption. And now the family has to figure out what it is, how to respond to it, whether it can be positive or negative, and how they're going to get out of it. What's that recovery phase look like? And when they get into that recovery or rebuilding phase, now they're back to a new level of homeostasis again. Now, so if we apply the ABCX model, so A, the stressor, we'll say Charlie's health and extreme obesity. We already kind of know why he gained all that weight. And B are the resources. He really only has one friend, and that's his friend Liz, who's there to provide that emotional and physical care to Charlie. And while the relationship is estranged with Ellie, that reconnection is help providing some hope. And the perception. Charlie is really depressed and already feels hopeless. Ellie is really angry and feels abandoned. Doesn't have a whole lot of empathy for her father's trauma and current condition. And Liz is very frustrated and sad, knowing what happened to her brother and how Charlie is continuing to choose to live. Now, the crisis of this is, the very unhealthy eating habits has resulted in the extreme obesity and heart failure, and it's leading to the eventual death of Charlie. And he knows what his crisis is. When Charlie confides in Mary, which is Ellie's mom, and tells her, "I'm dying, Mary," he validates it. He knows what is going to happen. So if we connect both of these theories together, and we realize that Charlie has come to terms with the gloomy outcome, the crisis of his health, he turns to Ellie and says, "You're the best thing that I've ever done," and asks her to read her essay to him one more time to help calm him down. And she responds with really mean words, but eventually complies, as she knows her dad is dying in this very moment. So applying the family stress and resiliency theory allows us to have a greater understanding on why Charlie is in a health crisis, what those stressors were that resulted into it, and how the family friends are coping, either providing the resources, what their perceptions are. And at the end of the day, they can't stop that crisis of his death. And applying the attachment theory allows us to understand why Charlie, Ellie, Liz are the way they are, based off of childhood experiences, trauma, feelings of abandonment, lack of unworthiness for love, and loss of trust in others. And when we apply these both theories, we understand maybe why Charlie ended in the crisis that he is, because he doesn't have the resources because of their specific attachment styles that have led them to be involved or how they deal with their relationships in general. It also has a huge impact on how the individual, the family unit responds or copes to a stressor and how likely they are to overcome if they had the right resource and mindset. And we know in this case, Charlie did not, and he does end up dying at the end.